Hi guys and happy Wednesday. We are live here at the Social Media Show studio. I am your host Priscilla Moy and you are watching The Hot Seat. Every single Wednesday, live at 3 p.m., we introduce two amazing people that live in Las Vegas or beyond, and they talk about what they do and why they do it and what keeps them moving. I love that it leaves everyone here in the studio and all of our viewers very inspired and very refreshed to go out and live their dreams. I have met some amazing talent in this city, people that are in entertainment and people who are not, but they're pursuing something and making themselves self-made and going out there and achieving whatever it is that they would like to do. Today we have two amazing guests that have a wide range of talents, and I cannot wait for them to tell them their story and everything that they've done and are currently doing at this moment. So make sure to not go anywhere, grab your lunch, grab your drinks, have a great seat for an amazing show here on The Hot Seat. So I'll see you after the break.
John is an employee at one of the most famous firms in the city of New York, so his job is very hectic, and he realized that it is necessary for him to go and finally take a vacation. But he went on a vacation without planning out the details, and wasn't able to truly enjoy where he went because he had to think about so many things that he didn't plan for. Instead of enjoying his time away from work, he came back with more stress that he was not able to take full advantage of his vacation. But this year, a coworker suggested him to try World Ventures this time to make his vacationing more enjoyable and less stressful. They do not require you to plan anything outside of your transportation, which is also available at discounted rates. Your stay, your transport, and many meals are planned by the club. John liked the idea very much. He tries World Ventures, and his experience with the club was amazing, as he made many friends there with whom he had a great time. John recommends that everyone should try this club, as they are the best in business. See how the VIP-vacation-club.com can give you the right experience without all the hassle. Enjoy the VIP experience that only World Ventures provide.
It's a tough market. We get it. Home inventory is at an all-time low. It's a seller's market, and cash buyers have the advantage. Recently, cash buyers made up more than a quarter of all home purchases. But we have the solution. New American Funding's Buyer Accepted program allows your buyers to compete with all cash offers by becoming cash buyers themselves. Here's how it works. Buyer Accepted LLC, an affiliated company of New American Funding, will purchase your buyer's new home with cash and sell it back to them for the original purchase price, plus a fee that can be added to the purchase of the home once they secure mortgage financing with New American Funding. The best part is that they don't need to sell their current home first. This is a true cash offer. Clients who use our Buyer Accepted program can secure financing using a conventional loan and even VA. Plus, there are no fees for agents and no sacrificing commissions. Buyer Accepted even offers a free 1-hour certification course that will make you the expert. You want to close more deals and help more clients? New American Funding's Buyer Accepted program is the answer.
Hi guys and welcome back to The Hot Seat. I am your host Priscilla Moy and we are live in real time here at Social Media Shows. We're going to jump into our first guest. She is absolutely amazing. I actually met her on a set of a music video. But she is a contortionist, an aerialist, an amazing athlete. She has worked with Cirque, and she also is now in a new show, a horror show called Abandon. And I can't wait for you guys to meet her. Everyone, please welcome Giulia Piolanti. Hi, Queen!
Lovely, beautiful.
Oh, you're so beautiful. Please take a seat.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, you're fabulous. All this purple. It's absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for being here. You are Italian, 100%, right?
Yes.
You came from Italy. So tell us a little bit about your origins and you as an athlete and how that started in Italy.
So yeah, I was born and raised in Italy, and I always had this passion for dancing and arts in general. So I always try to find way to like really push my boundaries and my body limits. That's why, for example, I love contortion, because it really like extend all the mobility the body can have. So I grew up in Italy, and I was a rhythmic gymnastic. That when my grandma actually, she was like, this baby, she's too active. She needs to go to gymnastics. So when I was 4 years old, my grandma, she brought me to my first class of rhythmic gymnastics, and I loved it. After finish competing at the age of 19, I decided after high school to attend a dance arts academy in Milan, Italy. So there is where I start more like acting and all like different discipline, like all kind of dancing, and then slowly I moved more into like circus performers. And in 2007 I thought I was ready. So I sent really, back in 2007, you really had to go to the post office and send your DVD to Montreal, where is the base of Cirque du Soleil. So that's what I did. I put together a little like video of me, went to the post office, sent everything. It was July 2007, and the 31st of August 2007, I had the email that completely changed my life. Cirque du Soleil offered me my first contract in a show, a resident show in Tokyo, Japan. So 2007 is the year that I left Italy and I moved to Tokyo for 4 years. And after that, I kept working for Cirque from show to show. I did 5 shows with Cirque du Soleil, mainly traveling shows. I prefer to travel. Like you just become richer like inside, meeting all these different culture, all these amazing artists and people all over the world. That was the best aspect of like touring for sure. Last year was my last show with Cirque so far here in Las Vegas, MJ1. I was playing the Jory Diana, the pole act. And then I decided sometimes I like to, I don't know, change a little direction. So I'm a big fan of horror movie, yeah, always been since a young age. My mom and dad were like surprising me with like horror movies, and I was like, oh, thanks. Everybody, you know, loved Disney cartoon, but I was more into horror. And I guess after so many years, it turned out that maybe that was good for me, because I'm an actress at the moment in this new horror show here in the Art District in Las Vegas at the Vegas Theatre Company, the show called Abandon, and it's an immersive experience between horror, there's a little bit of kinky, definitely for adult, and definitely it's a must-see show until the end of October.
Yes, so that you have a lot going on, and diving into a lot for specifically what you've done. When you're in Tokyo, you did win an award,
yes,
correct?
Yeah, being in Tokyo also opened doors to other possibilities. I started doing pole dancing, and you know, like back in time, pole dancing, it was still seen a little bit as a like a adult, but fortunately, through the years, we were able to transform the discipline into a real acrobatic discipline. Yeah. So Japan at that time was really already advanced with the idea of pole dancing as like a circus discipline. So I started practicing, and then 2010 there was the World Championship of pole dancing, and I got runner-up, so I got the second.
But that's a huge.
But yes. Yeah. And also, let's be honest, the gold medal was a Japanese girl, and we were in Japan. So
but to do pole at that level is very, very, very high athletic, and also having the grace of a dancer. It's not easy. I know a lot of people think it's very easy that you spin. Like I've seen professionals, and they're doing literally acrobats on a pole.
No. It's a full workout, like 100%. You use all the muscles from the legs to the upper body, and then there's a flexibility involved. And yes, the velocity, it can throw you off balance. So that's a lot.
And girls love to wear the big heels too. I know.
That's an option, of course. But definitely, I have to say, since I started pole dancing, as a woman, I feel more in control of myself. It's a discipline that also helps you to have confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
more than any other. Maybe also because you cannot wear too many clothes. You need the grip, the skin and the pole. So the fact that you are in short and sport bra and the heels, it gives confidence.
It's very empowering.
Yeah, it does. And it's for all women.
Yes.
All body shapes, all women. Like, seriously, it just makes you feel better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I remember you telling me, you know, amongst your travels and performing, you had actually gone to Saudi Arabia, correct?
Recently.
And you were telling me the story about how difficult it was as, you know, a performer, an acrobat, who normally wears very skin-tight clothes. Obviously, you want to see the movement of the body, and it's easier for you to flip around without all the fabric everywhere, right? So I want you to tell the audience what that was like to bring that sort of performance in a place where women are not very much allowed to show skin or do a lot of things that you could do at any other Cirque show.
It was a challenging time, definitely. So I spent from December 2022 until the end of March 2023 between Dubai and Saudi Arabia. Dubai is still very much like Western ideas. Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, no. So women are really still considered inferior than men. Just recently, just a couple of years ago, women are allowed to go to university and to drive cars. Just really a couple of years ago. So being there as a performer, we couldn't show any skin. So we had to perform and practice with long pants, long shirts, and it was also a little dangerous because, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes you need the skin for the grip, for the safety of the aerial apparatus you are using. Being covered with so many layers of costumes that they could wrap around the apparatus, or you could get stuck, and it was not fun, but I have to respect, of course, their culture and their heritage, so we all agreed to perform in this condition, definitely, but it wasn't ideal. Yeah.
And I'm sure it was a learning experience for you as well.
Of course, always. And when a country like Saudi Arabia is so different than our country, like I remember I left and I felt extremely lucky to live in United States, where there's freedom of expression, where there's more of equality between men and women. So I remember I was in the plane and I was like, wow, I'm coming back home.
Have a nice glass of wine.
Yes, and have a nice glass of another thing that you don't really think about it often. But, sometimes, at the end of the show or at the end of a long day, you can enjoy a glass of wine with your friends. And Saudi Arabia is illegal. Alcohol is illegal. So I definitely detoxed my body for 3 months.
You came back, had to build up your tolerance because you live in Las Vegas.
True.
So with every show that you've been casted in, whether it be MJ1, whether it be that show in Saudi Arabia or pole dancing, is there something that there's in common that you have with all of these shows? Because I know that you probably have a different role and you do different apparatuses and different things, right? What is the common denominator that you've kept?
The common thing is the audience, in the sense that the audience never seen that show. So no matter what I do, no matter how tired I am, they deserve to have the best from me. Yes. So in any show I go, I really put my soul out there. Really, really, really. Yeah.
What's your favorite apparatus out of all things?
I like aerials.
Okay.
I like to fly around. I'm much more confident and comfortable in the air than on the ground.
Really?
Yes. All of my little injuries, they are happening when I walk. But not when I'm there. So my favorite apparatus is straps. It's called straps. And it's something that goes on your wrist, both wrists. You secure it with safety, and it makes you fly. makes you fly, so you can do 2-arm sequences or 1-arm sequence. It's really like dancing in the air. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that is my
How do
favorite.
you maintain keeping the flexibility and ability, like, you know, everything that you're able to do for so long after a period of time, even through injuries? And I'm sure you want to continue performing and continue doing all your contortion. I'm sure a lot of it's muscle memory, but you still have to condition yourself to do, especially new shows. Like the next show you'll do will be something completely different choreography, different apparatus for you, different, you know, physical demands. How do you maintain the ability to just jump right into something like that?
Training every day, more or less. Like, even if I don't have a show in the next few weeks, that doesn't mean that I'm taking those few weeks off. No. More or less, at least a couple of hours, 5 days a week. Yes, I go and I do my own workout that is not weights and lifting. No, it's really like aerial. So I basically hold my own body weight. And yeah, I practice every day for a couple of hours. Usually I start with the most physical things and I finish with a very, very nice contortion stretching, yes. Because usually like contortion and muscles are not really going well together if you build too much muscle. So I really need to practice both in every day. So like I keep a good balance.
Which is already extremely hard because you're like, oh, I can't do too much, but I have to maintain strength, right?
And also sometimes if I'm too flexible, like it's a problem in the air.
Oh no.
I fold myself into a pretzel.
Oh no. A true athlete, absolutely. So let's talk about Abandon. Now, when I met you, you're kind of hinting towards what it's about, and it is a horror show, but it's based off of Marquis de Sade.
Yes.
Right?
The Marquis de Sade was a French writer in the 18th century. He was a particular writer for sure, and he had a little bit the obsession towards pain for pleasure. So he became mentally a little unstable. They put him in an asylum where he spent the last year of his life, and that is where he wrote his most famous book, 120 Days of Sodom. And in the book, he's basically an escalation of horrifying scenes by humans to try to get pleasure through pain until they die, basically. The show, so it's represent his last years in the asylum. So the ambient is an asylum. So he got captured, and that's how it started the show. And because it's an asylum, of course, you met also all the other patients in the asylum. In particular, like I'm a schizophrenic patient, so I think I have double personality. I'm not gonna reveal too much, but yes, so I play 2 characters in the show. And then we have a post-birth child trauma, so it's another patient, and psychopath. The show itself, it's made in a way that stimulates the thoughts and the emotions and the feelings of the audience that is watching it. Yes.
Yes, and you said it's kind of heavy for the audience.
Some scenes are maybe a little shocking, yes, for the audience. The show is rated 17 plus, so it's really not for kids. There are pretty obvious, strong images, yes.
Yeah, because you had mentioned before, because it just opened last week.
Yes,
right, so
yes,
it's now currently playing.
It's a new one, until the 31st of October. And there's also a very nice pre-show in the foyer of the theater where you can play with different toys around. And yeah, I mean, definitely it's shocking. We made a show to shock people.
Now, were you involved in creating the show? Because I know you have an interest in this sort of type of horror and psychological thrill, personally. So what was your role in creating the show prior to its opening?
So we are 10 actors, and we received the script, of course, the director scene by scene. But from the moment we start rehearsing, there was really a teamwork. Okay, yes, we had the script that was explaining what the scene was supposed to be. But then he came a lot from us, giving like ideas and like opinion also about other scene, helping each other as a teamwork. And definitely I felt the character I'm playing, somehow it's very, very close to me for certain experiences I had in the past and everything. So I don't know, it just suited perfectly for me. And it's very emotional. I cried during the show. I scream. I'm full of passion. I contort, of course. Of course, I'm using my like abilities, and the result, I have to say, is pretty awesome. People are responding pretty well. I really got amazing comments and compliments. Some people at the end of the show, they came to me and they were like, thanks to you, I felt compassion, I felt anger, I felt revenge, and I felt love. All thanks to you. So that's, when I received this from the audience, that's the best gift I could have had.
That's the best thing that you could do, because as a performer, right, you want to be able to make your audience feel something or leave with something.
Drag the audience with you.
Especially with something so dark. You're kind of on the verge of how are people going to receive it? Are they going to understand? Do they get the art behind the obvious sodomy and obvious all the sadism? But because you can easily get discouraged by being like, oh my god, like, should I be watching? Should I close my eyes? But to take it all in is accepting being vulnerable as an audience member, which
and plus the way the theater is very intimate, so there's really not so much separation between us and the audience. So the fact that we are able to really integrate the audience emotion into ours, that's great.
Do you think this is one of the more fulfilling roles you've had that you relate to personally compared to doing shows like MJ1 or...
Okay, personally, yes. Maybe yes. You know, Cirque du Soleil, of course, everything is about a beautiful imaginary world, and it's you have your own act and then some little cues. So it's just a little different. Here, I feel in this abandoned one, I'm really like part of the story. And emotionally speaking, yes, it's much more, I'm more involved. But like, for example, with Cirque, I did, as a main character, one touring show about Avatar, took the first flight. So I actually met James Cameron, and he was so happy about my accent. Nobody's happy about my accent, of course, but James Cameron was really happy because I had to talk Navi, the Avatar language in the show, and he was like, oh, your Italian accent is perfect for talking Navi. So with him also I developed a nice like acting skill during the show. That was a different Cirque du Soleil show than the others I did, because I was a character, so it was a story. I was present almost through the whole shows. Yes, I had my solo moment, but then I was always on stage being a beautiful blue cat.
And with James Cameron, I want to know, you wore the heart of the ocean from Titanic. Because she met James Cameron, shorty James Cameron. She was able to wear the necklace in the movie, which is absolutely amazing. So
we were in LA performing with the Avatar show. So James Cameron invited me and the other main character of the show to his studio in Malibu. One of the best day of my life, because like, okay, I love movies, and everybody loved Titanic. When you enter in the studio, you have the big Titanic there. You even have the car. You remember the hot scene?
The hot scene, the car. He's got the car.
You have the car with the handprint of Leonardo DiCaprio.
Wow, really? It's still there?
Yeah. They didn't clean it. It's there. And then, yes, the necklace. So I wore the necklace, and
Wow.
I'm also a big fan of aliens as a like science fiction horrors. And James Cameron directed Alien too. So there was a big alien there in the studio, and also Terminator, because James Cameron directed Terminator. So no, it was like, for me, it was like a
That's an amazing experience.
Yes.
Once in a lifetime experience.
great. No, it was a wonderful experience, and he's so humble and
Yeah, he's
So
very
he's
intelligent too. James
very
Cameron's
intelligent and funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great artist.
That's amazing. So let everyone know, where can we get tickets to Abandon? What's
So
the
the theater where we perform is Vegas Theater Company. So you can go to vegastheatercompany.com or the Instagram page that is Vegas Theater Company, and there's the link to buy the ticket for Abandon the Marquis de Sade until October 31st.
October 31st.
Yes.
Now, what are your goals as a performer? After this ends, do
Mhm.
you plan on performing for other companies, or do you plan on one day in Vegas having your own created show as a performer, as a creative?
I definitely, well, of course, sooner or later, my body probably is not gonna
Right.
be so dynamic anymore. So for sure, I'm gonna have to change a little bit direction. And yes, I not necessarily have my own show, but I would like to be in the creation and
Mhm.
like producing something different. Follow the artist. I would like artistic director, like a position like that, where I can like help the artists grow in their own artists, and like I would like to use my experience for the young artists that are coming.
Yes. Now, there is one question that I ask every guest that I do have, and it kind of sums up them as a human being as a whole. And that question is there a philosophy that you live by?
My philosophy, well, coming from Italy, I study a lot of Latin. So there's two that I read. One, Seneca said an amazing things once. In Italian is "È inutile cambiar sede se l'animo è ammalato." That means it's useless to change place if you are sick inside. Now, I say that because with all the years that I travel, I really realize when also you meet people that they're like, oh, I really need to change country to feel better. Sometimes, no, it's not the country where you are. It's just deep inside of you that you have to find your own home. This inside is your home, not necessarily what you have around. So that's what I try to do. I try to find my home everywhere I am. So
Yes.
I just listen. And the other one, carpe diem. That's pretty accurate, because we don't realize, but time really, really goes fast.
Yes.
So carpe diem, grab the moment.
Yes, that's very you.
Yeah.
All the things are very you. You literally make the best of every situation. Even when we were on set and things were just long and we were sitting there, I got to know her very well, and she's just like this very beautiful spirit who just kind of radiates art and love and acceptance. And you are seeing she's a very peaceful energy that you can see as she talks. Like, maybe you're from Italy, everything. It's absolutely amazing. But seeing her energy, she's very at peace with herself and those around her, and only radiates kindness, which is interesting because the dichotomy of that is she loves horror and things that are psychologically like messed up, and she's like, yes. But and she has a black cat, which is amazing.
Black cat, of course.
But everyone, Giulia, she goes by Purple Jew.
Purple Jew.
And tell them where they can find you on social media so that way they can connect with you.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely please follow me on social media. My Instagram is @purplegiu, Purple Jew, because my name Giulia is the Italian one, is Italian way, so it's Giulia and not J. So Instagram @purplegiu.
Yeah, and she's clearly, you can't forget it. Her
Yeah.
name is Purple. She loves purple. She's everything. So make sure to go see her show, Abandon. You don't want to miss it. It's a work of art. She's a work of art, and just go see her doing all of her things. And I know there's a video that she did send in, and you can also look for her videos on YouTube of her in action doing all of her amazing contortion. And she even just did a handstand here earlier for a photo on the Apple box. So that's like insane. But everyone, an amazing guest. Giulia, everyone, round of applause. Just absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for coming here. And when we come back, don't go away because we have another amazing dynamic guest for you. So stay tuned.
Baby, can't you see I'm calling? A guy like you should wear warning. It's dangerous, I'm falling. There's no escape, I can't wait to need a hit. Baby, give me it, you're dangerous, I'm loving it.
Traditional TV is going away. Hollywood is starting to fade. People are demanding real stories from real people. Our voices are now being heard in our own way. Podcasts, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok Live are becoming the norm. Internet TV has now reached the highest demand in human history. Social media shows is now the new media of the century.
Got Films is a full-service production company that provides motion picture quality content and production services for use in the film and TV industry. Looking for a seasoned crew, high-quality equipment, or other production services for your film, TV, commercial, corporate convention, sports, news, or interview project? Your search stops here. Some of our projects include NASCAR, American Restoration, Pawn Stars, Counting Cars, Top Chef, BattleBots, Forge and Fire, and Street Outlaws. We have also produced over 60 feature films and documentaries. We're ready for all your needs. Whatever your project, whatever your budget, big or small, Got Films got you. GotFilms.com.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the Hot Seat. I am your host, Priscilla Moy, and we are here live in real time at social media shows. I hope you enjoyed that amazing and gracious interview with the beautiful Giulia. Everything about her just radiating positivity and talent and art. But we are going to switch over to another talent. Now, he is extremely dynamic. There's so many things to unpack with him. He's an MC, he's a host, he's like a journalist in so many ways. He's a world traveler, he's an adventurer, he's an actor, a photographer, a voice actor, everything that has to do with a microphone, I'm pretty sure he has done. So everyone, please welcome the amazing and professional Madison Alexander.
Let's
Hello.
go. Priscilla, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
What an honor. Great to be here.
Yes.
Appreciate you.
It's an honor to have you here. I'm like nervous, like, oh my God, we have an actual like host and TV personality for like over 20 years. And I'm like, oh God, he's going to be like, this girl is a noob.
Honestly, you did so well. I was listening to your last interview in the back. It was really great. And like when you did the, lead up to it, there was like no stumble. It was like a one take wonder. It was definitely impressive. So
yeah, and I pull that out every time. I'm like, I don't plan it. I know sometimes like, you probably know it's worse when you try to plan something and not as genuine. I'm
totally. And I think the anticipation of stuff can get to you sometimes. So like being in the moment, so a lot of times it just kind of reads better for people. It feels more authentic. It comes off better. But there's a time and place. Sometimes you want to be memorized, but you know, I think you being in the moment impromptu is about as good as it can get. That was
Thank
great.
you. So now you're a West Coast guy. You've been, California and Vegas.
Yeah.
You've been here for quite a while, right? And
Yes.
I know that you've always been into media and communications. That is, I believe, what you had studied here at UNLV.
Correct.
So tell us where that love for all of this came from.
Great question. So to be honest, I feel like I was truly born to do what I do. And I think it started at a really young age. So the first example that I had in my life, and by the way, what I do for a living is I run my mouth for a living, I engage audiences, I make people shine. There's so many terms for it. It's corporate presenter, hype man, live event MC, on-camera host, moderator. There's so many terms that people use, or even like game show host, to try to describe all these various things. But it's basically communicating with people, right? And I think that the way it all started is I'm the son of a preacher man, so my dad's a minister, definitely not my path, but he led the way for me seeing someone impact people, truly bringing people together through speech. And I think that's what it's all about. I mean, for you and anyone out there listening, you know that feeling when you're in an audience. It could be at a concert, it could be even in class, whatever it is. And that feeling of, it's often overused term, but that feeling synergy, it's this real thing where you are basically one organism with the audience. You guys are all in one kind of organism, you're all together. And I feel like a lot of that is because of the speaker. So the speaker, it is not all about the speaker. The speaker is just that conduit for synergy that brings people together, brings excitement, and makes people feel that collected energy. And for me, that was very addictive. When I saw that as a kid, I'm like, wow, there's something magical about this. So the way it started, I would say, in high school, I did like speech and debate, right? That's something that I loved. I did a little bit of competitive speech at tournaments and stuff. And I'm like, maybe I'm on to something a little bit. And then what really kind of changed my game, I think, and really got me thinking, when I was in 10th grade, I was not the most popular guy at school by any means. Like, I was a pretty outgoing person, so I think most people knew who I was, but I certainly was not in the most popular group. And I've, another thing too is I've dealt with my whole even career, even as a kid, I had social anxiety, all these type of things, but I still had this desire to communicate that would, inspire me to go over my fears, go past my fears. So in 10th grade, a buddy of mine came and was like, you should run for class president. You should do it. I'm like, really? So he basically convinced me to run for class president. And this was an insane thought, honestly, at the time, because there were already 2 gals that were running, and it was like the most popular girls in our class. It was like the one that everyone thought was like the hot girl, and then the one that was like the smart girl. So I'm like, oh man, I don't know. And they had these elaborate campaigns and all the stickers and all the posters, and had been at it for a long time and building their coalitions. So I jumped in the game pretty late. I announced my candidacy, if you will, probably like a week and a half before it was time. And I made like a couple silly posters and a couple flyers. But I wrote this speech that was really impactful, okay? So I was so scared. To perform this speech, we had to go in the cafeteria in front of every single person in our class at the time. I mean, I could just thinking about it right now, I'll start sweating. I mean, my heart was just pounding out of my chest. You have no idea. And I'll tell you this, I wasn't able to finish my speech that day because there was so much applause that I went over time and I couldn't finish because of the applause. And when I finished that, I went home and I got the call later that day that I was now the new class president of my class. It let me know that there was power to words and there was power to bringing people together. And that's what really inspired me. So later on, I was doing a lot of random jobs. I was doing high-end fashion when I was, young. I thought I was going to be like merchandise marketing. I thought I was going to be in the marketing side of fashion. I worked at a sales associate at Gucci and Armani, and I was at Gucci and the Bellagio like three months after they opened. And for me, that was like, wow, this is, really cool. And I was just kind of learning how all this stuff worked. And then, I'm like, maybe I need to study journalism. So I started, I went to UNLV. I was taking some journalism classes. And in the meantime, here, it's all indirect how this stuff started going. I started doing a little modeling and acting locally. Now, granted, this is not Milan, right? This is not London. Right. So it's not like, this huge model or something. But I was getting gigs. I was getting a lot of print work for the casinos around town, doing some fashion shows, things like that. And then one day it all came together where one of my agents I saw was hiring a professional MC for a live corporate event. I said, that's interesting. How does this work? I never even heard of this whole industry or anything like that. Never even thought about it. So I told my agent, I'm like, hey, I love speaking. I've studied a bit of journalism. I have a history of speech. I would love to do this. Please get me in. So she set up a profile on the site, did all this stuff, kind of honestly built me up to be a lot bigger than I was at the time, to be honest. But that's what a good agent does, I suppose. And I got lucky with my first job almost 20 years ago speaking, and it was for Samsung at CES, the big consumer, electronic show. It's the largest trade show in North America. And I got to do the main speech in the big booth where they're showcasing all the new stuff. And that was my first time speaking for money. And since then, it's taken me all over the world. It's taken me all over the U.S. And I've been able to impact and connect with, at this point, tens and tens and tens of thousands of people. And it's a true passion for me at this point. It's a passion. It's a passion.
You have that kind of voice anyway, so you would hear the local news channel. And then a question I want to have for you is, I've met people who've done radio hosting and things like broadcasting. And you kind of stuck more to hosting, game shows, live presentation, things like that, television. For you, why did you go down the path of a reporter? What's the difference for you, and where does that love for choosing this side of journalism, as we might call it, versus going and just being a straightforward reporter, newscaster, things like that?
It's a great question, to be honest with you. I became jaded with the industry of journalism. I started learning, I love the concept. I had these delusions of, not necessarily delusions of grandeur, because it could have happened, but what I imagined journalism to be, I was like, I'm going to be a war journalist. I'm going to be embedded, I'm going to have the Kevlar on, I'm going to do this, or, you know, I'm going to expose some big corporate speak like Enron or some corporate secret, or, you know, something that really changes the world, like big tobacco or and this type of thing. And as I started learning more and more, I realized that the path to get there was there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of there's a lot of I don't want to speak too negative on it, because a lot of people have gone through that path and gone far, but it's a lot of politics to get there. And a lot of it is like, oh, move to Nebraska and, you know, small market and work the graveyard shift and make $20,000 a year perhaps, and hopefully you can eventually get somewhere. So once I saw that was how the industry worked in a lot of ways, I was like, I think I just lost interest in that. Lost a little interest. But when one door closes, another door opens. If you're really passionate about it. So I'm fortunate. I feel very fortunate that I didn't go on that path. But who knows? You never know. Maybe it goes, you know,
you
180.
have a segment on a new segment.
You never know.
That can keep your own.
Because
you're able to maintain your own personality right now. Like when you do a lot of the hosting, you go on television, you do a lot of things where you go places, you're being them as yourself versus under maintaining a very strict, you got to say it like this, there's no sort of, you know, expressing you as a person instead of that. So maybe I feel you're very boisterous, you're very dominant. I feel like for you, this is a great choice because you still get to travel and do a lot of things that a lot of journalists get to do, which is going to other countries and getting the news right then and there. You've gone and with celebrities and going on their tours, a lot of that stuff. And what has been the most impactful interview or job, something that you've done where you've taken a lot back and kind of defined your career as a whole?
I think there's been a lot of those, to be honest. And in fact, after you do this and you've been in so many cities and so many shows, a lot of it starts running together. But there have been a lot of key things of where there's a lot of like high-level people that you have to interview or connect with. One thing that just popped in my head as you're asking me right now, I remember one of the presentations I was giving for Samsung years ago. They told me that Sergey Brin, the co-founder of Google, was about to come to my presentation. And I've heard of this guy. Like, this is a legendary guy, billionaire, you know. And I'm like, okay, but I didn't know what he looked like at the time. And it was just really interesting to me. So this like entourage showed up, and it was about 20 people, and like everyone was wearing suits. And I figured out who he was pretty quickly because he was the one person in that group that was not wearing a suit. He was like super casual. I'm like, man, and this is the billionaire that, you know, make the technology that we use like literally every single day. That's really wild. But there's been so much stuff, interviewing like NFL Hall of Famers like Steve Young and Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin and a lot of these guys. Introducing big CEOs of companies, Fortune 100 companies, like the CEO of Cisco I just introduced a couple weeks ago. There's just so many people like that that I've been able to interact with, and my life in general has kind of been around that. Like I used to be a model for will.i.am, you know, from the Black Eyed Peas. For his clothing line, I was like their main model for a while, and I was able to, you know, work with Michelle Pfeiffer, like helping her pick out outfits and stuff like that. So there's like a lot of name dropping type of stuff that I can do. But to be honest, I think the most impactful stuff for me is to bring excitement to people and make them the star that normally wouldn't be. Right. So I like a lot of audience interaction. I want to know where people are from. I want to hear their stories. I want to, you know, go back and forth with them, make them shine, find out their name, you know, throw back to them later, you know, in the show. To me, that's the fun thing, because we already know these other people. You know, you can just Google some of these names and it's already there. But when you can make just a random person in your audience the star for a while, that's the key. Yeah. And that's a ton of fun, you know. Yeah. One thing that just comes to mind real quick when, I don't know, just memories of things that happen out there, is I think that's what's really important is it's about oftentimes to me when things go wrong, not when things go well. So one of my favorite memories is just a low-key thing. So I was in Cologne, Germany, debuting some new camera technology. And this was very much high tech, like big deal stage. It looks like the Apple premieres where they're gonna, premiere all their stuff. They have the huge screen and you're standing there. And I had a co-host as well, but I was the first one to go. All the media sitting there, all the cameras are there. Everyone's waiting for this big product reveal. And we're set up, we're ready to go. And I step on stage and I start speaking and everything behind me freezes. The entire massive screen setup completely freezes. And we're there. So in a moment, I just took a second and I said, hey, we're having an issue with our screen. Why don't I just sit here and tell you about this awesome technology, and then we can see if we can get this back up. So for the next 15 minutes, I just started talking randomly about the things that I knew off my head. It wasn't off the teleprompter that we had. It wasn't any of that. Just tried to make it shine, tried to have a laugh about it, tried to be human about it. And then before you know it, co-host jumped on. He jumped with me. We, bantered back and forth. And then they eventually had the show back up. Fast forward 2 years later, I'm at a trade show in San Francisco for a completely different client, completely different reason. And this random dude comes up to me and he's like, you're that guy in Germany. When everything went wrong and you just made the show happen. That was so cool. And he was like really congratulating for me. To me, that was almost like, of all the celebrity stuff and all that stuff, that was like my biggest moment in my career, because it seems like, life does not always go according to plan. So whether it's in your career or your personal life, being able to make that pivot, be real, be in the moment, and continue going, I think is key. So that was something that was...
And being good at what you do, obviously, because you knew enough where you're like, all right, I got to keep the show running. And you're able to use your IT intellect and do all of those things for the audience. Right,
and I think that's a big part of my career as well, because to be honest with you, a large majority of my jobs, I could technically not know that much about it or not know anything about it, because you just learn the script, you do follow the prompts, you read the teleprompter, blah, blah, blah. But I think what's given me this endurance and taking it to that next level is that I have my own personal interest in these topics, that I want to learn about this stuff. I'm a geek about this stuff. I want to look things up on my own. I want to stay aware of what's happening in the world, whether it be technology, even from technology to celebrities, to politics, to science, to fashion, to food, whatever. And I think the more and more that you're connected in life, the more dynamic you can be with other humans in human situations. So I think that's been pretty beneficial, even though the job doesn't necessarily require that all the time.
Right. I've realized, though, that when you're hosting, to be aware of many faceted things, whether or not it's your interest, is great to connect with another human being. And I think that you kind of understand that as well. Like, no matter where you are at that moment, to connect with someone just on maybe one slight thing, or you both like one TV show, right? All of a sudden, the person is like in your hand,
Totally.
And so you do so many different things, from red carpets to game shows to, convention speaking, presenting a new product, doing all of these things. Which one do you feel as a host is the hardest for you to do? Because I've realized, compared to doing TV shows and red carpets to me is a big task. It's not as easy as it looks. And so I would love to know, to you, which one is one that you're like, oh, okay, this one I gotta really be right here for?
Honestly, I think that's why I give so much kudos to you for being able to do this in-studio stuff. I've done a lot of on-camera, in-studio type of stuff. For me, that is the hardest, because I don't have 9,000 people in front of me in a massive auditorium. I don't hear the applause. I don't have people I can throw to and make a star in that moment. So everything is just in that camera and that lens right there. So it all has to be passion that I imagine in my mind and convey it right on this, lifeless lens. But you need to imagine what's on the other side of that. So that, for me, I think, as being a live guy, is something that I continually work on, and that's the thing, even when you're on camera, you are connecting with people. It's just a different way, right? Yeah. You have to know on the other side of that, it could be even more people than 9,000. It could be hundreds of thousands. It could be millions of people. So being able to process that in your mind and then convey that, in a quiet studio with lights on you, with no one around, and still be able to imagine that you're having that impact. I think that's the key. Not always easy.
Yeah, you prefer looking at people.
For sure.
I love camera work.
Yeah.
But, you know, we all have our thing, and that really kind of signifies your career. Now, what is it for you right now? So you've done a lot in your past. You're still going now. What is your routine like? How are you getting gigs and maintaining your presence as one of the top MCs that you can be?
Great question. Great question. So it's a process, and it has developed over the years. Now I would say, I have a bunch of agents, first of all.
Right.
This realm, for the most part, is something that you sign a lot of non-exclusive contract agreements with a whole plethora of various agents. Sometimes it's like a mom with a computer. They get you a job once every 3 years, and that's great. But the truth is, now at this point, deep in my career, I would say over 75% of my work is direct. So that direct work comes from referrals. It comes from seeing me at shows on the trade show floor. It comes from YouTube, personal website, referral from a colleague, things like that. And that's what really keeps it going. I mean, there's no better advertisement for yourself than people seeing what you do in real time. And then it's about nurturing those relationships, right? Because especially in this corporate world, especially with like IT and tech stuff, people are moving from job to job all the time. So they'll leave one opportunity, will go out the door, and then you'll hear 2 years later, oh, hey, remember me? I now work over here, and can we have you for this? So that's why you don't want to burn bridges out there. It's in life in general, but especially in the corporate life. But just the way it plays out, yeah. These days I'm still at it. I'm doing a lot of hype man stuff. Hype man stuff is amazing. I was just a hype man for Flo Rida about a year ago. For Montel Jordan, this is how we do it. Getting people hyped. That's a lot of fun. And another thing on the complete opposite side of that, of what I do, is like these stone cold technical scripts for like physicians, radiologists, engineers. I take a lot of excitement in breathing life into topics that are normally very dry. Because if you think about it, so many of these technical scripts, whether it be engineering or something about some piece of medical equipment, this is crazy. People would think just from like 150 years ago, this is absolute sorcery. Like they would never even imagine that humans would even be able to accomplish this stuff. So I think it's really unfortunate, especially if you look at our schooling. Think about how many classes you sit in talking about biology or chemistry. I mean, these are literally helps you decode existence itself and like understand how the universe and how everything works and what the ingredients of life are and how it interacts and the magic of it. But how many times are you sitting there in the classroom and it's like, blah, 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 you're just going through the motions. It sounds so dry. I think as a kid, I resisted that so much. A big part of my career and who I am is because of how bored I got in these classes. I was homeschooled until 6th. I have kind of a unique childhood. One of the pieces being I was homeschooled until 6th grade. And then when I actually went to real school, I'm like, why are we here so long? Why are these teachers so boring? Why? What are we doing? So that feeling, and the Charlie Brown teacher, and it's like, wah, 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 just talking in the background. That's like how they sounded to me. So I think half my whole career is based on don't be the Charlie Brown teacher. Yeah.
And I don't think you can be. You have too much personality and you're too great at speaking. And, to you, it's having fun with communication, which is great. For sure. Now, what does your next decade look like for you? What is your goal? Where do you want to be? You've done a lot of things already, while also being an actor, a voiceover actor, a commercial actor, a model, being into fashion, and also delving in the world of photography and that being behind the camera. What is the mark that you're trying to leave behind? Who is Madison Alexander?
Now it's getting real deep now and later in the segment. It's a really good question. So it's pretty clear in my mind what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. And up till now, the overwhelming majority of my career has been taking other people's material and making it shine, right? For other companies, for other solutions, for even just for entertainment purposes. I am moving into a point in my life now where I want to start creating my own content, speaking on my own content, creating training programs based on my own content, and really trying to like impact people and move forward. And to be honest, there's many themes that I have, want to impact people with, but I know what the main one I'm going to start with is, and it is anxiety, okay? Whether it be, public speaking. They say public speaking is like, number one or number two most common fear of people, and I haven't. I've never gotten over it. I was nervous sitting out here before I came on. I've been doing this for 20 years. So I understand what it is to feel this anxiety, right? But also I know what it is to push through it. So I want to help people where it be from a sales point of view. A lot of people get anxiety when they're trying to do sales. People get travel anxiety. My goodness, I used to have so much travel anxiety. The idea of, I've taken so many international flights, even just Airbnb. I've stayed in over 70 individual Airbnbs. I've stayed in hundreds of hotels. I've been to almost 30 countries, tons of repeats. And before I couldn't even sleep on a plane or basically use a public bathroom. It was all like freaking me out. So over time, I was able to confront those things and kind of build upon them, and here we are today. So I feel like I can help people with that stuff. Anxiety in relationships, intimacy, all these things. These are all things that I've had anxiety about, and it probably will never fully go away, but I've been able to confront those things, and I think I have some tools and some stories that will help people in the process. So that's hopefully what we can do.
Hopefully have fun on the world. You're teaching your way through multiple ideas and situations.
Totally.
And those things.
And in the past, I've done a lot of volunteerism, and and to be honest, when COVID hit, I think I got more internalized, and that's one of the things that now I'm like, dude, you need to get back in the game. I used to volunteer my time a lot and be part of a lot of nonprofits and things of that nature. And to be honest, I haven't been doing it as much lately as I would like to. And so time to get back in the game a little bit.
I think this interview has helped you be inspired again
to
go do these things. So you've heard with my other interview, I always ask the final question for all of my guests.
Yes.
Because I love having it sum up everything that you had just talked about and kind of inspire our audience.
Awesome.
And that question is there a philosophy that you live by?
I think there's probably several, but I think the main thing kind of ties into what we just talked about, and I would say, don't let fear be your boss. Mm-hmm. Don't let fear be your boss. It's just one voice of many that are in our consciousness, in our brain, in our body. Just like when I was going for that speech that I said that I won class president, or my first presentation that I did 20 years ago, the anxiety and the nervousness inside me was overwhelming. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally, hormones, testosterone, all the different cortisol, all the different epinephrine, all these different hormones your body produces, and stress is all there. But there's also another voice that likes to do it, that feels like you achieve something when you move past that. Let that voice be your guide. Don't let fear be your boss. Let it be just another voice in there to evaluate, and you get to choose if you're going to let that take front stage or not. Yes,
I absolutely love it, because that's how you overcome every single thing. And talking in front of people, that is a fear within itself, and you do that every single day. So it's been an honor having you here. Please tell everyone where they can find you, where they can reach out, ask questions, inquire about a job, etc.
Absolutely. If you're doing the social medias, you can see me at Madison the Host, Madison the Host, all one word. That's Instagram, that's Facebook, that's Twitter, now known as X, obviously. On YouTube, you can find me at Mr. Madison LV, MR, no dot, Madison LV, like Las Vegas. Or actually, I think it's Mr. Madison Alexander, pardon me, Mr. Madison Alexander, MR Madison Alexander. And check out my website. That is also MrMadisonAlexander.com. Feel free, holler at your boy, and hopefully we can bring some fun and some connection to your audience.
He's very easy to find, guys. And I did my research. All his stuff comes up, and one will lead to another. So you can't miss him. He's actually like Madison Alexander the Great. So,
Alexander the Great.
This is your new nickname.
That is very nice of you.
But thank you so much. It's an honor being here. I hope that you enjoyed this interview. I enjoyed you here. It's a pleasure having someone at his level of doing what we're doing here, sitting here, enjoying his time and being interviewed.
You're
It's a lot different for hosts. Thank you so much.
You're amazing.
Oh, stop.
Hope we can do it again.
I
You're
know.
so good.
I hope so. I'd love to have
Look
you
at
back.
the fit too. You guys see the
It's
fit? I
Halloween.
should have worn something different. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's awesome.
But everyone, don't go anywhere. You know I'm not done talking. But everyone, please round of applause for Madison Alexander. Hype him up. Let's be his hype man. And when we come back, again, like I said, my mouth will still be running. So do not go anywhere.
Hello, everyone. This is Joseph Skoda with Social Media Shows. Well, I thank all of you for your support through these last several years, and it's been a lot of fun. We've given people a voice they never had before. Now, Social Media Shows is always collaborating with our veterans to help them do things and help out the veterans who are struggling today. And we teamed up with GI Connections, connecting veterans with resources. So please consider helping and donating to this great cause because we're always doing things for veterans. So GI Connections, Social Media Shows, and you is what makes the world a better place. Once again, Joseph Skoda, proud United States Air Force veteran.
Traditional TV is going away. Hollywood is starting to fade. People are demanding real stories from real people. Our voices are now being heard in our own way. Podcasts, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok Live are becoming the norm. Internet TV has now reached the highest demand in human history. Social Media Shows is now the new media of the century.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the Hot Seat. I am your host, Priscilla Moy. We are live in real time at Social Media Shows, the studio, the one and only. Thank you guys so much for watching. This episode was absolutely amazing. I enjoyed every second of the interviews that I had with both Giulia and Madison. It was absolutely so insightful. Two completely different energies, but both in their own way, extremely, extremely liberating and inspiring. Like, I learned so much just sitting here listening to them. Even though we all do completely different things, it's just absolutely stimulating. So I hope you guys really follow them, really support what they do, watch what they do, learn from them, and reach out to them. If you do what they do, if you're into aerial and performance and contortion, or you're an athlete, Giulia will 100% respond to you and help you in any way that she can. Or if you're looking for someone who could do that and you're casting, she's a great person. And Madison, obviously, if you need a presenter or an MC or a host, that type that he can bring, hype man, that's very him, he's the one to go to. Or if you want to learn from him, as you can see, he's very susceptible to teaching and impacting others in the ways that he can. So that is the avenue that he would like to go by, and I support them wholeheartedly. And I hope they come back in our studio. So, you know. Anyway, so moving on, I always like to mention that we do always have openings for sponsors for any of the shows here at Social Media Shows. It's not just any of mine, but all other shows that you might enjoy, that you watch religiously. You can sponsor any of those. And that email address is admin@socialmediashows.com. And that email is going to be the golden ticket to everything that is this studio. So whether you want to sponsor a show, or you have a question or an inquiry, whether you want to host a show or have an idea, that email address is going to be what you're going to reach out to. Along with being a guest, there are many shows, not just mine, that might have some guest appearances as an actor or whatever, as a talker, a speaker, a guest, or something like mine where you want to tell your story and be interviewed by me. You can submit all your info. Please tell them what show you're reaching out for, whether it be the hot seat, whether it be the morning show or a spotlight, whatever the case may be. Please state that in your email along with a photo of yourself and who you are, your bio. What is the purpose of you being here and why? How did you hear of us? We also love that too, because we love that our reach is going far and beyond, and love seeing how you came across us, whether it be you know one of us or you just happen across our show, because it's amazing, obviously. So as you can see, we're here, we're loving it, we love every episode, and I love getting to talk to you guys and reaching you guys at home. From here on out, you will be seeing me in Halloween looks. because it is October and it's my favorite holiday. So my choker, I just want to tell you guys because you're staring at it like, what is that? It says Hell Admit 1 and it's a little ticket, like a little box office ticket because ooh, we love it. We love it here. We love being crazy. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please share this video and please share these interviews. Please reach out to these people. Support them, support them, support them, support us. Wait a minute. Let's not pretend this is not about us too here at Social Media Shows. Support us. Do everything that you can to make sure that the hot seat is #1 because we are. Or me. Anyway, but like I said, happy October, and I will see you next week here at the Social Media Show studio. Mwah.